Hello everyone. Let's start our today's topic, that is Rise of Islam in Arabia. So in today's topic we'll be talking about faith, community and politics. So during 612 to 32, Prophet Muhammad preached the worship of single God, that is Allah, and the membership of a single community of believers, that is Ummah. So here you came to know about a new term, that is Ummah. Ummah is a single community of believers who believe in one God, single God, that is Allah. So this was the origin of Islam. Muhammad actually was an Arab by language and by culture, and he was a merchant by profession. Around 6th century, the Arab culture was actually largely confined to the Arabian Peninsula and the areas of southern Syria and Mesopotamia. If we talk about the Arabs, they were actually divided into tribes. They were called as Kabila. The tribes, a different term that was used for tribes was Kabila. So basically the tribes, the information that is in detail is given to you on this slide on the right hand side. Basically the tribes are actually the organized societies on the basis of blood relationships. And the Arab tribes, if we talk about particularly, they were made up of clans and also combinations of large families. They were not related clans, they also merged to make a tribe stronger. So not necessarily they were belonging to one family only or one clan only. They were merged also, there was merging up also to make the tribe stronger. Now, non-Arab individuals who were known as the Mawalis, they actually became the members through the patronage of the prominent tribesmen. And even after converting to Islam, the Mawali, who were the non-Arab individuals, they were never treated as equals. Why they were never treated as equals? Because they were non-Arabic individuals and they were different from the Arab Muslims. So the Arab Muslim don't used to actually treat them equally and had to pray in separate mosques. The Mawalis or the non-Arab individuals had to pray in separate mosques. Now, as I told you that the Arabs were divided into tribes, that is the Kabila, and each Kabila or the tribe was led by a chief. And how he was chosen? So he was chosen partly on the basis of his family connections and also by his personal courage, wisdom and generosity. So how courageous and how generous was the person? It was also the criteria for becoming the chief of the tribe. Now, each tribe has their own god and goddesses who were actually worshipped as an idol, that is Sanam, in a shrine. So many of the Arab tribes were nomadic, that is Bedouins, that used to move from one place to another, and they didn't have any fixed home. That is, they moved from dry to greener areas, that is oasis of the desert. Why they used to move in from one place to the another? Because they have to search for food, mainly dates that are found in deserts, and also fodder for their camels. So some of them also settled in cities and they used to practice trade or agriculture also. So Muhammad's own tribe, to which Muhammad belonged to, was Quraysh. They were actually living in Mecca and they controlled the main shrine there. So cube-like structure, that is the Kaaba, in which all the idols were placed. So even the tribes outside Mecca, they actually used to consider the Kaaba holy. And they have installed their own idols also in the shrine, making annual pilgrimages, that is Hajj, to the shrine. That is even today being practiced by the Muslims. So Mecca was located on the crossroads of the trade route. Because Mecca was present at the crossroads of the trade route, it was very famous area, that is between the Yemen and Syria. So it also enhanced the city's importance, also religiously and also trade wise. Now the Meccan shrine was a sanctuary, that is harem, where violence was forbidden and there was also protection that was being given to all the visitors. So the Meccan shrine was very holy, and hence no violence was to be allowed there, and also all the visitors were given full protection. So pilgrimage, that is Hajj, they gave the nomadic and the settled tribes the opportunities to communicate with one another, with different tribes, with different people coming over there. And they also used to share their beliefs and the customs with the others who were actually coming there as visitors on Hajj or for trade. Now, although the polytheist Arabs, those who actually believed in many gods, they were vaguely familiar with the notion of supreme God, that is Allah, and possibly they were under the influence of the Jewish or the Christian tribes who were living in the middle. Now, their attachment to the idols, who were polytheist Arabs, their attachment to the idols and the shrines was more immediate and more stronger. So, around 612, if we talk about, Muhammad declared himself to be the messenger of God, and he has also been commanded to preach that Allah alone should be worshipped. So the worship actually involved simple rituals, for example, daily prayers, that is salat, and the moral principles to be followed, distributing of alms, and abstaining from theft. So these were some of the simple rules that were to be followed by the Muslims. Now, Muhammad was to found actually a community of believers, as I told you, that is called as Ummah, and they were actually bound by a common set of religious beliefs. Now, this community of believers would bear witnesses, that is Shahada, and to the existence of the religion before God, as well as before the members of other religious communities. So basically, they were kind of the representatives of the religion in front of everyone. Now, Muhammad's message particularly was appealing to those Meccans who were feeling deprived of the gains from the trade or from religion, and who were actually looking for a new community identity. Now, those who actually accepted the doctrine were called the Muslims, and they were actually promised salvation on the day of judgment, and they were also promised the share of the resources of the community while they were on earth. And the Muslims soon faced considerable opposition from the affluent Meccans, who took offense to the rejection of their deities and found out the new religion a threat to the status and prosperity of Mecca. So the polytheist Arabs were the people who actually felt that these the new community, that is of the Muslims who actually believe in one God, that is Allah, the polytheist Arabs felt offended from this new community called the Muslims. Now, in 622, Muhammad was forced to migrate with his followers to Medina due to this scenario, and Muhammad's journey from Mecca was a turning point in the history of Islam with the year of his arrival in Medina. That actually marked the beginning of the Muslim calendar. Again, I will repeat that was a very important time in the year as Muhammad arrived in Medina. It is marked as the beginning of the Muslim calendar. Now, the survival of a religion rests on the survival of the community of believers. Because religion cannot exist alone, it needs a community of believers to exist, and also the community has to be consolidated internally. It has to be very strong, it has to be united internally and protected also from the external dangers. So this type of consolidation and protection was required, and it was given to them by the political institutions such as states and the governments, which were either inherited from the past or borrowed from outside, or they had been created from scratch since starting. Now, in Medina, if we talk about, Muhammad created a political order from all the three sources, which protected his followers, and all the protection was given to them which they needed, as well as it also resolved the city's ongoing civil strife. So the Ummah, that is the community of believers, was converted into a wider community, so that in this they also included the polytheists and the Jews of Medina under this political leadership of Muhammad. So Muhammad consolidated the faith for his followers by adding in and by refining the rituals such as fasting and ethical principles, and this community survived on agriculture and trade, as well as very importantly the alms tax, that is zakat. In addition, the Muslims organized expedition raids on Meccan caravans and also in the nearby oases. So these types of raids that were being conducted on the Meccans, they actually have provoked the reactions from the Meccans obviously, and it actually caused a breach with the Jews of Medina. So after that, what happened was that there were a series of battles that happened, and Mecca was conquered, and Muhammad's reputation as a religious preacher and also as a political leader was spread far and wide. Now Muhammad was at a very strong place, and Muhammad now had insisted on conversion as the sole criteria for the membership of the community. So anyone who wanted to be the member of the community, that is called as Ummah, he or she has to convert. So conversion was the sole criteria. Now, in the harsh conditions of the desert, the Arabs attached great value to the strength and solidarity. Now, they were impressed by Muhammad's achievements, and many tribes, mostly the Bedouins who were moving from here to there in search of food and in search of fodder for their animals, they joined this community by converting to Islam. So Muhammad's alliances, they actually began to spread until they embraced the whole of Arabia. So now, as you know, the topic suggests the rise of Islam in Arabia. So here we are coming to the end of the topic, how Muhammad's alliances began to spread until they embraced whole of Arabia. And Medina, if we talk about, it became the administrative capital of the emerging Islamic state, with Mecca as its religious center. So Medina was the administrative capital and Mecca was the religious center. Now Kaaba, that is very important, was cleansed of idols, as Muslims were required to face the shrine when they used to offer prayers. Now, in a short space of time, Muhammad was able to unite a larger community, a large part of Arabia, under a new faith, a new community, and built a new state. Now, the early Islamic polity, if we talk about, it remained a federation of Arab tribes and clans for a longer time period. So children, that's all for today. We'll come back with the next video with the next topic. Thank you so much.